Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Hi everyone, Sue here from 1A Auto, and today on our 06 Honda Element, I'm going to show you how to replace a lower control arm. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1AAuto.com. To remove the tire, you need a 19mm socket. I have the vehicle has weight on it so that I can loosen up each lug nut as I go around. I'm using a 2-post lift. At home, you can use jack and jack stands. Now I have it up in the air, I'm just going to remove all the lug nuts. Beautiful. And we can discard the hubcap. 14mm wrench and a number 5 Allen socket. And I'm going to put the 14mm wrench on the sway bar link nut. And then I'm going to install the Allen head in the stud with the cutout. And I'm going to loosen up. You get yourself at a good spot and you feel like a ratchet wrench is going to work. And you can move on to that. Take the Allen head socket off and you should be able to get this right off. I'm going to take a pry bar and see if I can pull that right out of the cutout. Here we go. Nice. So I'm going to remove the cotter pin. And discard that. And I'm going to take the castle nut off. That's a 17mm socket. I'm going to slide that right on there, break it free. Discard that. Now I'm going to use a pickle fork to break the ball joint free from the control arm. And if you're not replacing your ball joint and you're going to reuse the ball joint, you've got to be really careful and not to tear this boot on the ball joint. Luckily for me, this boot's already torn, so I don't have to worry about trying to save it. But if your boot is in good shape and your ball joint's in good shape, just be careful. Work your pickle fork underneath the boot and not pinching the boot. There it is. So now I can separate my control arm from the ball joint spindle. And just by going to pull down like that and push that knuckle out of the way. Remove the 2 control arm bolts. Take a 19mm socket. As you can see, the CV shaft has been dismounted from the knuckle. It doesn't need to be if you're just doing the lower control arm. We're also doing a ball joint. Sweet. I'm going to take a look at both bolts. Okay, they're the same length, same shanks, same diameter, so don't have to separate them. I'm just going to pull this control arm out. Just rock it back and forth. Here we have the new lower control arm for our 06 Element from 1A Auto. And here we have the one that we just took out. They're identical in shape and size. The 1A Auto comes with pressed-in bushings for both control arm marks where it hits the subframe. It's got the ear for the sway bar link and the nice thick cast for the ball joint. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1AAuto.com. I'm going to line up the front bolt first, and I'm going to actually thread a bolt in so I'm not fighting with that. Just want to turn it a couple of threads by hand, and I'm going to bring the back side up in there. That's why I wanted the front bolted in, because this is going to take some pressure. There we go. Perfect. Now that we've snugged them down, we're going to torque it to the manufacturer's spec, which is 61 foot-pounds. What I do is I like to make sure it's seated in there. Now I'm going to put the Newcastle nut. The Newcastle nut is an 18mm socket. And I'm going the wrong way. There we go. I'm going to snug this up. Pull that ball joint spindle right down through. Once I feel that snugging, the torque is 51 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque it up. Now let's see if the cotter pin has any line-up holes. And it's fine. Yep, I can put the new cotter pin in. I like to put the cotter pin so that the opening is on the inside there. So that way, when I bend it down and lock it into place, I can cut it easily, and it won't cut people that are just doing simple oil changes or anything like that. Any front end or brakes. Sometimes these cotter pins can be more dangerous than they appear. And then I'll fold that up. So I'm going to take a pry bar and I'm going to slide it up through here so that I can lift that up and line up the sway bar. Beautiful. Put the new nut on. As you can see, we ended up replacing the sway bar link. So there's no Allen head on the end of the new one. Instead, it's a 14mm on the inside and a 15 on the nut side. We're going to tighten this down. So now we're going to torque the nut to 29 foot-pounds. And mount the tire again. And the reason why I put the tire on before I tighten the top of the strut is because I want the weight of the vehicle on the suspension to assure that I'm not pulling up on that cap, the strut cap, and that it can warp the studs on the outer edge. I want the vehicle weight down, holding it up, and then I can get a true torque and tightening of it. Grab your hubcap, because this particular Honda does not have extra wide cutouts for 3 lug nuts. Set the rim up on the hub and put your lug nuts on. So the wheel torque, I got the weight of the vehicle down on the tire, and I'm going to torque up the wheels. And the wheel torque manufacturer spec is 80 foot-pounds.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.